Welcome to the video of Vort. Torah tells us at the end of this week's Sedra, "Ve'alatzilei b'nei Yisrael lo shalachas yado," that God stayed his hand and he did not seek retribution against the Atzilei b'nei Yisrael, who did what? Vayechazu es Elokim, they gazed upon the presence of Hashem in this awesome moment of receiving the Torah, Vayochlu vayishtu, and they sat down and they ate and they drank. So apparently, they treated this moment with such denigration and in such a disdainful way that it was really worthy of retribution, of consequence. However, El Atzilei b'nei Yisrael, the Torah tells us, Lo shalach yado. God stayed his hand. He did not seek any consequence for them. Now, this is one level of bad. However, the Baal HaTurim suggests that's really the least of our problems. Because the Baal HaTurim connects our pasuk here in Mishpatim to a pasuk in Eicha. Pasuk in Mishpatim says, Vayechazu, they gazed upon the presence of God, and they ate and they drank. The pasuk in Eicha says, Niviyayechazu lach shav v'tafel, your seers, your prophets prophesied to you delusion and folly. Vayechazu lach mas'os shavu madochim, and they prophesied to you oracles of delusion and deception. In other words, the so-called prophets deceived Klal Yisrael and deluded them into believing that there was nothing wrong and everything was fine and they had to do nothing to change their behaviors. But that's really only because that's what the people wanted to hear. They weren't interested in the true Nevi'im who had words of rebuke to say, to help them change and craft better, more noble, more spiritual lives that would forestall or actually change the upcoming exile and destruction. No, they wanted to hear from these quote-unquote Nevi'im who were going to tell them that all was good and everything was fine and let them live in their delusion. That's what the Navi in Eicha is saying. Says the Baal HaTurim, our pasuk here, Vayechazu, is connected to that pasuk there, Vayechazu. In both cases, there was a delusion. Here too, what happened? The Atzilei b'nei Yisrael had this awesome moment of reverence and respect and fear and trepidation. And what did they do with that moment of awe? Vayochlu vayeshtu. They sat down and they ate and they drank and they believed that that too was avodas Hashem. And they deluded themselves into believing that that too was a moment of reverence and awe. They believed that what they were doing was also holy work. And that was the true abomination of that moment. That was what was really reprehensible. That they did what they did is one thing, but to delude themselves and justify it, to believe that they were working in the service of Hashem, that is a whole nother level of bad. And that's what the pasuk says, Al Atzilei b'nei Yisrael lo shalach yado. God stayed his hand and did not seek retribution for that truly dastardly deed. This understanding of the pasuk has implications not only for the Atzilei b'nei Yisrael, but really for all of us. For how often are we in a moment, in a position, where we have to be honest with ourselves? We are not always perfect. Sometimes we fail. But at least when we fail, at least when we falter, to be honest with ourselves and say, I'm faltering. And not to delude ourselves and justify that what we're doing is also avodas Hashem. No one has to be perfect. But what we do have to be is honest. It's the least that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can expect of us, and it's the least that we should expect of ourselves. Good Shabbos.